The emergency sirens blared through Trading Station Omega-7, their piercing wails mixing with the sounds of plasma fire and screaming civilians. Staff Sergeant James Cooper ran through the smoke-filled corridors, his combat boots pounding against the metal floor as he guided the last group of refugees toward the evacuation point. "Move! Move! Move!" he shouted, his helmet's sensors tracking multiple hostile signatures closing in from the station's outer ring. The pirates had struck without warning, their ships decloaking just minutes after the station's shield maintenance had begun. It was too perfect to be a coincidence. Cooper watched as the last human civilian crossed into the safe zone where his squad was helping people board the emergency shuttles. He was about to fall back when his helmet picked up a faint biosignature from a side corridor, one that didn't match any known human patterns. Standard procedure said to ignore it. His orders were clear: evacuate human civilians only. The aliens had their own evacuation protocols, but something made him pause. The signature was flickering. Weak. "Sarge, we need to go. Pirates are breaking through Section D." Private Rodriguez's voice crackled through his comm. 2 minutes, Cooper responded, already moving toward the signal. "I need to check something." The side corridor was darker, emergency lights casting everything in a dim red glow. That's when he saw her. A Kathiri female, her silvery skin dulled by ash, and what looked like blood. She was propped against the wall, one hand pressed against a nasty plasma burn on her shoulder, the other protectively wrapped around her swollen midsection. Cooper had seen Kathiri before, tall, graceful beings known for their diplomatic skills and advanced biotechnology. But he'd never seen one injured, never seen one looking so vulnerable. Her large, almond-shaped eyes fixed on him, their usual bright green clouded with pain. "Please," she whispered in broken standard English. "My mate." He tried to protect. Her voice cracked as she gestured toward the end of the corridor. Cooper's helmet sensors showed another biosignature there, completely flat. No life signs. An explosion rocked the station, causing debris to rain down from the ceiling. Cooper's HUD flashed with urgent warnings. Pirates were less than 2 minutes away from their position. The Exatheri woman tried to stand but collapsed with a pained cry. Cooper noticed the way her abdomen rippled. He'd seen something similar when his sister was in labor. This alien wasn't just injured. She was pregnant. "Sarge, what the hell are you doing? The last shuttle leaves in 3 minutes." Rodriguez was screaming in his ear. Cooper made his decision. "I've got a critical civilian," he responded, kneeling down beside the Exatheri. "Ma'am, I'm going to carry you. It might hurt, but we need to move now." Her eyes widened. "You would help? But I am not human. Today, that doesn't matter." Cooper carefully lifted her, surprised by how light she was despite her condition. Her skin was cool to the touch, and he could feel tremors running through her body. "I'm Staff Sergeant James Cooper, United Earth Defense Force. What's your name?" "Nelia," she whispered, wrapping her arms around his neck as he started running. "Nelia Valshire." The route back to the evacuation point was chaos. Cooper had to duck into doorways twice to avoid pirate patrols, his heart pounding as Nelia tried to muffle her pained whimpers. His armor's medical scanner showed her vitals weakening, but the twins, the scanner clearly showed 2 distinct heartbeats, seemed stable. They reached the shuttle bay with seconds to spare. Rodriguez's jaw dropped when he saw Cooper's burden, but he helped get Nelia aboard without comment. As the shuttle's doors sealed and the engines fired up, Cooper felt Nelia grip his hand. "My children," she said softly, her voice fading as medical nanites finally kicked in to stabilize her. "They will need a protector now." Cooper squeezed her hand gently as the shuttle broke away from the dying station. "Rest, Nelia. You're safe now. All of you are safe." The medical bay of the ISS Mercy hummed with activity as doctors rushed around Nelia's bed. Cooper stood against the wall, still in his dirty combat armor, refusing to leave despite the medical staff's protests. The Exathery's silvery skin had taken on a concerning grayish tint, and the monitor showed readings that none of the human doctors fully understood. "Her body temperature is dropping," Dr. Sarah Chen announced, her face creased with worry. "And these energy readings, I've never seen anything like them." She turned to Cooper. "Sergeant, we need a Exathery medical expert. Without proper knowledge of their physiology, we're working blind." Cooper watched as Nelia's chest rose and fell with shallow breaths. "The nearest Exathery medical ship is 3 days away," he said. "Will she last that long?" Before Dr. Chen could answer, one of the monitors started beeping frantically. Nelia's eyes flew open, glowing with an intense green light. She reached out and grabbed Cooper's hand, her grip surprisingly strong. "The children," she gasped. "They're trying to help me heal, but they're too young. The energy, it's too much." Her free hand clutched her swollen abdomen as waves of bioluminescence rippled across her skin. Dr. Chen's eyes widened as she checked the readings. "The twins are generating some kind of bioelectric field. It's interfering with their mother's natural healing process." She looked at Cooper helplessly. "We need to stabilize them, but I don't know how." Nelia's grip tightened on Cooper's hand. "In our biology, energy can be shared. My mate, he would have helped balance them." Tears leaked from her glowing eyes. Without him, Cooper made a quick decision. "Can you take my energy instead?" he asked. "Like a transfusion, but with whatever this is." "Sergeant, we have no idea what that might do to you," Dr. Chen protested. "The physiological differences." Actually, a new voice interrupted. Dr. Patel, the ship's xenobiologist, hurried into the room with a tablet. "Human and Exathery blood share some remarkable similarities. Their energy transfer might work with us. But Sergeant," he looked at Cooper seriously, "it could be dangerous." "Do it," Cooper said firmly. He looked down at Nelia, whose glow was starting to fade. "Tell me what I need to do." The next few minutes were a blur of activity. The medical team hooked Cooper up to various monitors while Nelia, her voice growing weaker, explained the basics of Exathery energy sharing. It was normally an intimate process, reserved for family members and mates, but in emergencies, "Just focus on warmth," she whispered. "On life. On protecting." Cooper closed his eyes, still holding her hand. He thought about his family back on Earth, about the protective instinct that had made him go back for Nelia on the station. He thought about the twins, innocent lives caught in this chaos, and their need for safety. At first, nothing happened. Then he felt it, a tingling sensation that started in his hand and spread up his arm. It wasn't painful, but it felt strange, like static electricity under his skin. The monitors began beeping faster. "Incredible," Dr. Patel breathed, staring at his readings. "The baby's energy field is stabilizing. They're accepting his input." Slowly, the gray tint faded from Nelia's skin, replaced by her natural silvery glow. Her breathing deepened and steadied. The dangerous spikes on the monitors smoothed out into regular patterns. When she opened her eyes again, they were their normal green, no longer glowing with dangerous energy. "You?" She looked at Cooper with wonder. "You truly are a protector. The children, they recognize you now. They've accepted you." Cooper swayed slightly, feeling lightheaded but satisfied. Dr. Chen quickly helped him into a chair, checking his vitals. "Well, Sergeant," she said with a small smile, "it seems you've just made xenobiological history. And possibly," she glanced between him and Nelia, "become the first human to be energetically bonded to Exathery twins." Nelia reached for his hand again, and this time, Cooper could feel a faint, warm pulse where their skin met, like tiny heartbeats echoing between them. The twins were safe. All of them were safe. The alarms in the medical bay started blaring at 300-hour ship time. Cooper, who had taken to sleeping in a chair nearby, was instantly awake. Nelia was curled on her side, her silver skin glowing brightly in waves of light that pulsed from her head to her toes. "The twins," she gasped, clutching her stomach. "They're coming." Dr. Chen rushed in, already checking the monitors. "Her energy levels are spiking again," she announced, "and the baby's life signs are getting stronger. They're definitely ready to be born." But something was wrong. Nalia's face showed more pain than the doctors expected, even for labor. Her glow became erratic, flickering like a faulty light. The traditional birthing position she managed between sharp breaths. Xathiri mothers float in suspension tanks. But here, another wave of pain hit her, and the lights in the medical bay flickered in response. Dr. Patel burst into the room with his tablet. "The twins are generating too much energy. Without the dampening effects of a suspension tank, they could overload the ship's systems, or worse, harm Nalia." Cooper moved closer to the bed, remembering how his energy had helped stabilize the twins before. "What if I help again? Like last time?" Dr. Chen looked uncertain. "The birth process will require much more energy than before. It could be dangerous for both of you." "Do it," Nalia said firmly, reaching for Cooper's hand. "The children, they trust you. They'll listen to you." The next hour was intense. As contractions came closer together, Cooper stood by Nalia's side, one hand clasped in hers, the other resting gently on her stomach. He could feel the twins' energy, wild and bright, pushing against his palm. Following his instincts, he focused on projecting calm, steady energy, like he was anchoring them through the storm. The medical team worked quickly, combining their knowledge of human birth procedures with Nalia's hurried instructions about Xathiri biology. The ship's lights continued to flicker, but less violently now, as Cooper helped channel and stabilize the excess energy. Finally, after what seemed like forever, the first baby arrived. The tiny being glowed like a small star, its skin a perfect blend of human peach tones and Xathiri silver. Its cry sounded like wind chimes in a breeze. "A girl," Dr. Chen announced, quickly wrapping the newborn in a special energy-dampening blanket. "And she's perfect." Her sister followed 4 minutes later, identical except for a small birthmark on her left shoulder. As soon as both babies were cleaned and swaddled, they were placed on Nalia's chest. The moment they touched her skin, their glow synchronized, creating a gentle, pulsing light that filled the room with warmth. Cooper watched in amazement as the twins turned their heads toward him, their eyes opening to reveal irises that swirled with both his brown and Nalia's green. They reached out with tiny hands, and when he touched them, he felt the same warm pulse of energy he'd grown accustomed to over the past weeks. "They know you," Nalia said softly, her voice full of wonder. "The energy bond we share, it's made you as much their parent as I am." She looked up at him, tears in her eyes. In Xathiri culture, this kind of bond is sacred, more binding than any legal document. Before Cooper could respond, Captain Martinez entered the medical bay. His expression was grave. "Sergeant Cooper," he said formally, "the Xathiri High Council has been informed of the situation. They're demanding that Nalia and the children be transferred to a Xathiri medical facility immediately." Cooper felt the twins' energy spike anxiously in response to this sudden tension. He kept his voice steady as he replied, "With all due respect, sir, that's not happening. These children are as much mine as they are Xathiri now. I won't let anyone separate this family." The captain's expression softened slightly. "I thought you might say that, Sergeant. Well then, I suggest we prepare for some interesting diplomatic discussions." 2 weeks after the twins' birth, Cooper found himself in his new quarters on Unity Station, trying to figure out how to warm up bottles of the special formula Dr. Chen had developed for the babies. Luna and Nova, as they had named the twins, were beginning to fuss in their shared crib, their skin glowing with hungry irritation. "The temperature must be exactly right," Nalia said from her chair, where she was still recovering. "Too hot or cold will upset their energy balance." She tried to stand, but Cooper gently waved her back down. "I got this," he said, checking the temperature again. See, perfect 37.2 degrees Celsius. The moment he picked up Luna, her sister Nova began to cry. The lights in the room flickered as their distress grew. Cooper had learned quickly that the twins needed to stay close to each other. Their shared energy field made separation uncomfortable for them. "Here," he said, carefully settling into the wide rocking chair with both babies. "Nobody's leaving anybody behind." As he fed them, Cooper noticed how their small hands would reach for each other, creating tiny arcs of silver-blue energy between them. Their eyes, still swirling with brown and green, watched him intently as they drank. "You're very good with them," Nelia observed, her voice warm. "Most exotheory fathers take months to learn to handle twin energy fields." Cooper smiled, remembering how his squad mates had reacted when he'd requested emergency family leave. Rodriguez had just laughed and said, "Of course you'd end up adopting alien babies, Sarge. Of course you would." A knock at the door interrupted his thoughts. It was Mrs. Zhang from next door, her face pinched with concern. "Sergeant Cooper," she said stiffly, "my lights keep flickering. And my plants, well, they're growing rather unusually fast." She pointed to a pot of flowers by her door that had indeed grown several inches overnight. Their blooms turned toward Cooper's quarters like they were seeking the twins' energy. "I'm so sorry," Cooper began, but Mrs. Zhang cut him off. "It's not natural," she said, eyeing the babies, "having them here in a human station." "Mrs. Zhang," Cooper's voice was firm but kind, "Luna and Nova are as human as they are exotheory. They're babies who need love and protection, just like any other children." The older woman's expression softened slightly as she watched the twins, who had finished their bottles and were now glowing contentedly, their small hands still linked. "Well," she said after a moment, "I suppose they are rather beautiful. And my orchids have never bloomed so well." She paused. "If you need any help with them, I used to be a nurse." After she left, Nelia looked at Cooper with admiration. "You handled that perfectly. On my world, such prejudice would have been met with cold silence." "Sometimes people just need to see past their fears," Cooper replied, gently rocking the now drowsy twins. "Speaking of which, we have that meeting with the station's education board tomorrow. They're not sure how to handle formally registering the girls." "They're worried the twins will affect the other children?" Nelia asked. As if in response, Luna and Nova's hands glowed brighter, and a gentle wave of warmth filled the room. The remaining flowers in Mrs. Zhang's visible doorway suddenly bloomed. "Actually," Cooper chuckled, "I think they're more concerned about explaining to parents why their kids might come home with glowing homework." Nelia laughed, the sound like musical chimes. Then she grew serious. "James, are you truly happy with this? With us? Your life has changed so much." Cooper looked down at the sleeping twins, their small chests rising and falling in perfect sync, their shared dreams creating soft pulses of light that danced across the ceiling. He thought about his old life, the military routine, the solitary quarters, the predictable days. "I've never been happier," he said simply. "This is exactly where I'm supposed to be." Cooper knew something was wrong the moment he entered their quarters. Nelia sat rigid on the couch, her skin almost white with stress, while Luna and Nova huddled together in their playpen, their usual bright glow dimmed to a worried flicker. "They found us," Nelia whispered, holding up a datapad. "The Exotheory High Council. They're sending a ship." Cooper quickly crossed the room, putting a reassuring hand on her shoulder. The twins immediately brightened at his presence, reaching up with small arms. He picked them up, feeling their anxiety through their shared energy bond. "What exactly did they say?" he asked, sitting down beside Nelia, as the twins curled against his chest. "They say I've broken our most sacred laws, allowing our children to bond with a non-exotheory." Her voice trembled. "They want to take us back, to correct the situation." Before Cooper could respond, his own communicator buzzed. The message made his blood run cold. "Staff Sergeant Cooper, Report to command immediately regarding unauthorized alien contact and breach of military protocol. They can't separate us, he said firmly, watching as the twins' energy field pulsed in response to his determination. The bond is already formed. Even their own laws say it's permanent. A knock at the door made them all jump. It was Dr. Chen, looking worried but determined. "I came as soon as I heard," she said, entering quickly. "The Exotheory ship will be here in 6 hours. But I've been studying the twins' energy patterns." She held up a thick folder of data. "The bond they share with both of you isn't just emotional. It's biological. Separating them from either parent could cause severe trauma." Cooper felt the twins' grip tighten on his uniform. At 6 months old, they were already showing signs of understanding far more than normal infants. Their shared energy field had only grown stronger, and they could now affect the emotions of people around them, usually spreading calm and joy, except when they were upset. "The military wants to court-martial me," Cooper said quietly. "Apparently, saving Nelia and forming a family bond with aliens counts as unauthorized contact." Dr. Chen snorted. "Yes, heaven forbid a soldier show compassion and save lives." She pulled out another datapad. "That's why I brought this. Medical evidence proving the twins need both their human and exotheory DNA to survive. Their energy field requires both patterns to remain stable." Suddenly, Nova made a small sound of distress. The lights flickered, and everyone turned to see Captain Martinez standing in the doorway, his face unreadable. "Sir," Cooper started to stand, but Martinez waved him back down. "At ease, Sergeant." The captain looked at the twins, who were watching him with their unique swirled color eyes. "I just had a very interesting conversation with both Earth Command and the Exotheory ambassador." He paused as a small smile crossed his face. "It seems your little family has created quite a stir. The first viable human exotheory hybrid children in history. The first cross-species energy bond. The scientists are fascinated, the diplomats are having fits, and the media." He chuckled. "Well, let's just say your story has caught the public's imagination. What does this mean for us?" Nelia asked, her hand finding Cooper's. "It means," Martine said, "that separating you would cause an interstellar incident. Not to mention the medical and ethical implications Dr. Chen has documented." He looked directly at Cooper. "The court-martial has been canceled. Instead, you're being reassigned." "Reassigned?" Cooper echoed. "To the new Joint Species Cultural Exchange Program. Apparently, Earth Command thinks a human soldier who's successfully raising hybrid children with a exotheory mate would make an excellent liaison officer." Martinez's smile widened. "Congratulations, Sergeant. You've just become a diplomat." The twins chose that moment to release a burst of happy energy that made every light in the room glow like a miniature sun. Their laughter, chiming like silver bells, seemed to wash away the tension of the past hours. The emergency sirens on Unity Station brought back memories Cooper didn't want to remember. But this time was different. This time, he had a family to protect. He raced through the corridors toward the daycare center, his combat training kicking in as he assessed the situation. "Status report." He barked into his communicator. 3 pirate ships, same markings as the ones that attacked Trading Station Omega-7. Martinez's voice crackled back. "They're specifically targeting the section where your family is, Cooper. This isn't random." Cooper's heart raced faster. The pirates must have learned about the twins. The first human exotheory hybrids would be valuable to certain unethical collectors or scientists. He rounded the corner to find Nelia already at the daycare entrance, her silver skin glowing with protective anger. Inside, Luna and Nova were huddled together in a corner, their shared energy field creating a visible dome of silvery light around them and the other children. "The pirates have borders," Nelia said, her voice tight. "I can sense their hostile energy signatures approaching." Cooper nodded, pulling out his service pistol. "The twins. They're protecting the other children." Somehow they knew. Nelia's eyes widened. "James, they're getting stronger. the energy they're generating. Before she could finish, the first pirates appeared at the end of the hallway. Cooper recognized their leader, the same scared face he'd seen in security footage from the Omega-7 attack. Well, the pirate sneered. The hero and his alien wife. Hand over the hybrid brats, and we might let you live. Cooper's response was a precise shot that knocked the weapon from the pirate's hand. The firefight erupted instantly, with Cooper providing covering fire, while Nelia used her Kathiri abilities to create energy barriers around them. Inside the daycare, something remarkable was happening. Luma and Nova, sensing their parents' battle, began to glow brighter. The other children, instead of being frightened, seemed calm under the twins' protective field. A pirate got lucky, hitting Nelia with a glancing shot that made her stumble. Cooper moved to help her, but this left him exposed. As a pirate took aim at him, something unprecedented occurred. The twins' energy dome expanded suddenly, rushing through the hallway like a wave. Where it touched the pirates, they froze in place, their weapons dropping from paralyzed hands. The energy felt warm and familiar to Cooper and Nelia, but to the invaders it was like being hit with a stun blast. "That's impossible," one of the pirates gasped before collapsing. "They're just babies." Station security arrived to find 6 unconscious pirates, a slightly singed but otherwise unharmed Cooper and Nelia, and 2 very tired but proud-looking twins still maintaining a smaller protective field around their fellow toddlers. "The children," Dr. Chen said later, after checking everyone's vital signs. "They combined your protective instincts, Cooper, with Kathiri energy manipulation. They didn't just shield, they defended. At 6 months old. Is that bad?" Cooper asked, holding the now sleeping twins while Nelia spoke with station security. Dr. Chen shook her head in amazement. "Bad? It's extraordinary. They shouldn't be able to control their abilities like this for years. But somehow, having both human and Kathiri DNA, plus your shared emotional bond," she smiled. "They're writing their own rules." Nelia returned, looking both proud and concerned. The pirates confessed. "There's a bounty out for any hybrid children. Some believe they could be the key to combining human adaptability with Kathiri energy manipulation." She stroked the twins' hair softly. "They're right, in a way, but they don't understand that it's not just about genetics." Cooper nodded, feeling the warm pulse of his family's shared energy field. "It's about love," he said simply. "All the science in the universe can't replicate that." The twins stirred slightly in their sleep, their small hands finding each other as always, their shared dreams creating gentle patterns of light that danced across the ceiling like stars coming home. The arrival of the Kathiri High Council delegation turned Unity Station into a spectacle of lights and ceremony. 3 tall, silver-skinned figures glided through the corridors, their traditional robes flowing like liquid starlight. But Cooper's attention was on his daughters, who were watching the proceedings with unusual intensity. Luna and Nova, now 8 months old, sat perfectly still in their ceremonial outfits, small versions of both a human military dress uniform and Kathiri formal robes combined into something unique. Their dual-colored eyes tracked every movement of the council members, and their shared energy field rippled with curiosity. "Remember," Nelia whispered, adjusting her own formal robe, "they'll test the children's abilities. It's tradition for all Kathiri young ones." Cooper straightened his dress uniform. "And if they don't approve?" "They don't have a choice," she smiled. "Our daughters rewrote the rules the day they were born." The lead council member, Elder Vaxina, approached them first. Her ancient eyes studied the twins with careful intensity. "These are the hybrid children, the ones who defeated armed pirates with energy manipulation." "Yes, Elder," Nelia bowed respectfully. "Luna and Nova Cooper Valsher." The elder's eyebrows rose at the combined surname, but before she could comment, both twins raised their small hands toward her. The air between them shimmered, and suddenly the elder's stern expression softened into wonder. "There," sharing memories with me, she breathed. Not just emotions or energy, but actual memories of their family, of love. She looked at Cooper with new respect, a human soldier who risked everything to save one of our own, who bonded with hybrid children in a way our sciences said was impossible. The other council members moved closer, their own expressions changing as the twins shared their experiences with them too. Through their energy field, they showed the council everything. Cooper's rescue of Nelia, the birth where his energy helped stabilize them, their daily life filled with both human and exotheric traditions, and most importantly, the love that bound their unusual family together. Extraordinary, the second elder murmured. Their energy control is beyond anything we've seen in one so young. And the way they combine human emotional projection with our energy manipulation. Luna chose that moment to demonstrate further, creating a small ball of light that danced between her hands. Nova joined in, and together they wove the energy into a complex pattern that showed both Earth and the exotheric homeworld orbiting the same sun. A message of unity, Elder Vaxna interpreted, watching the twins' creation with fascination. From minds too young to know politics, yet wise enough to see what we adults often miss. Cooper felt pride swell in his chest as the twins continued their display. Every day they showed new abilities, but more importantly, they showed new ways of bringing their two cultures together. We came here expecting to pass judgment, Elder Vaxina announced formally. Instead, we find ourselves learning. These children are neither human nor exotheric. They are something new, something that perhaps both our peoples need. She turned to Cooper and Nelia. We propose establishing a new cultural exchange program, with your family as its foundation. Your daughters have shown us that our differences need not divide us. They can make us stronger. The twins clapped their hands in delight, sending sparkles of light cascading through the room. Their joy was infectious, and even the most serious council members found themselves smiling. There will be challenges ahead, the elder continued. Many on both sides will resist change. But these children, she gestured to Luna and Nova, who were now creating tiny auroras above their heads. They are living proof that love knows no species, that family is about bonds stronger than blood or energy. Cooper looked at his family, his etheric wife glowing with pride, his hybrid daughters shining with possibility, and felt the warm pulse of their shared energy field embracing them all. We're ready for any challenge, he said firmly, as long as we face it together. The twins' aurora grew brighter, painting the station's walls with the colors of two worlds becoming one. 5 years had passed since that fateful day on Trading Station Omega-7, and Cooper could hardly believe how much had changed. Standing in the garden of the new Human Exotheric Cultural Center, he watched his 5-year-old twins teaching younger children how to create small light butterflies with their energy. Remember, Luna said patiently to a small human boy, you have to feel the warmth inside first. Her silver-tinted skin glowed softly as she demonstrated. Like this, Nova added, helping the young Zathiri girl whose energy was flickering uncertainly. Just imagine you're sharing happiness with a friend. Together, the children managed to create tiny sparkles that danced through the air. The garden, specially designed to respond to Exotheric energy, bloomed with extra vigor around them. Cooper smiled, remembering Mrs. Young's initially troubled reaction to her rapidly growing plants years ago. Now she ran the center's botanical program, studying how hybrid energy affected various species of flora. They grow more amazing every day, Nelia said, joining him. She wore her formal diplomatic robes. She'd just finished another successful negotiation session between Earth and the Exotheric High Council, just like their father. Cooper, now wearing the insignia of a cultural exchange officer, pulled her close. And as wise as their mother. Did you see how they handled little Zax's tantrum this morning? Used their energy field to calm him down, then explained why hitting wasn't nice. Speaking of energy fields, Nelia grinned. Should we tell them about the news? Cooper's eyes widened as he felt a new, tiny pulse of energy from his wife. "You mean?" She nodded, her skin glowing with joy. Dr. Chen confirmed it this morning. "Twins again." She says, "With the way our energy patterns have synchronized over the years, these ones might be even more special than Luna and Nova." As if hearing their names, the twins looked up and beamed at their parents. In 5 years, they'd grown into beautiful children who perfectly balanced both their heritages. Their dual-colored eyes sparkled with intelligence, and their ability to manipulate energy had developed in ways that amazed both human and exotheory scientists. "Dad, Mom," they called in unison. "Watch what we taught everyone." The group of children, human, exotheory, and a few other hybrids born after Luna and Nova proved it was possible, joined hands in a circle. Together, guided by the twins, they created a shimmering dome of energy that reflected both species' homeworlds in its surface. "Unity through diversity," Cooper murmured, quoting the center's motto. Who would have thought that saving one pregnant alien would lead to all this? The center had become a symbol of hope throughout known space. Other species had begun sending representatives, curious about the possibility of their own hybrid programs. The twins' unique abilities had proven that combining different species traits could create something greater than the sum of its parts. Dr. Chen, who had become the leading expert in hybrid biology, often said that the key wasn't just in the genetics, it was in the love and acceptance that Cooper and Nelia had shown from the beginning. "They want us to name the new cultural exchange ship after you," Nelia said softly. "The JSC Cooper, for the human soldier who proved that compassion knows no species." Cooper shook his head, watching as Luna and Nova now led their small group in creating a spectacular light show above the garden. "Name it after them," he said. "They're the ones who changed everything. We just gave them the chance to exist." "Dad, Mom, come join us," the twins called. "We're showing everyone how families can share energy." Hand in hand, Cooper and Nelia joined their daughters in the garden. As they sat in the circle, Cooper felt the familiar warm pulse of their family bond, now expanded to include the new lives growing within Nelia. Around them, flowers bloomed out of season, lights danced in impossible patterns, and children of different species laughed together under the stars. 5 years ago, he'd been just a soldier following his instincts to help someone in need. Now he was part of a legacy that would reshape the galaxy, not through war or politics, but through love, family, and the simple truth that differences could become strengths when hearts were open to change. The twins snuggled against their parents, their shared energy field embracing them all in its warm glow. Above them, the stars seemed to shine a little brighter, as if celebrating the future they were building together.